Just OBS things.
I think me and Valdez feel segregated against because the ones with facial hair are on the right.
It's a struggle.
I mean, the people with glasses are on the bottom, so.
I wear contacts. I got my glasses right here.
Here. We'll make it where it's not. There. We're good now.
I can't see anything with these on because I have contacts in, but. Dude, how much were those in line? I saw those. I was buying a new PSU the other day, and I saw a pair of those, and it was like fucking $50.
Yeah, they were like $60.
That's insane.
Oh, those gunners?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Crazy.
Honestly, though, when I'm like editing and stuff, like my eyes start to really hurt.
That's fair.
And so it helps me like not go blind.
Mine are built in. I actually have like the
blue light.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty great.
Yeah, the blue light blocker.
It's late over there for you, isn't it, Val?
It's 8 o'clock. I mean, it's just like regular evening. It's perfect for me.
I didn't know if it was. I don't know if you were a mega night owl like me, where I'm up till like 4 a.m. every night. Like.
Oh, in the past I was, but I realized, hey, I actually want to spend some time with the missus in the day too.
Well, thankfully, my girlfriend is also a night owl. But
what are relationships?
Aren't you married?
I don't know. There's some chick that's just in my house that cooks me food. I don't know who she is.
She makes all the money and makes me food.
Sometimes she's just like, "Hey, do you want to make coitus?" And I'm like, I don't know. Like,
maybe.
What's in it for me?
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Nah, girl, I got a game.
I gotta be gaming, dude. You have been streaming so much. You're doing the double stream thing now.
Yeah,
the morning and then the night stream, the moon strat.
It's rough.
It's crazy. I'm not about that.
15-hour days basically. That's like, god damn it.
I do my morning YouTube sometimes. I just want Stalingrad because I'm so like out of YouTube content. Like I'm just like, here's a video of me using a T60. Everybody. Fucking ridiculous. All right. So on the docket, before we like officially begin here on the docket, obviously Stalingrad. Duh. We'll be talking about Stalingrad a bunch. And then after that, I don't know, in line, if you asked anybody if they had questions to talk about, sometimes you do that. Otherwise,
I did not.
Okay. Otherwise, I have some stuff that I asked people. BR system is something that's pretty interesting that we could talk about.
Okay.
This guy was also asking thoughts on making the game just a little bit slower, which is something that I think is probably something we could talk about a little bit. And then explosive pack rework, which I know we all have thoughts on. And then I think Valdez can also talk about all the feedback that that you've gotten in the CC Discord that you want to be heard.
The angry, bitter gamer with off-map stuff, mortars and artillery and
yeah, and it's dude, like I said, I think it's crazy that there's no like the fact that KO Fox and Mark aren't in the CC Discord is crazy to me.
They aren't?
No, they're not. They're not in it at all, which is insane to me because like Mark is in my Discord. Like how is he he popped up in my Discord, was like said something to me, and I was like, I didn't even know you're here, and he was like, yeah, I watch all your videos to gather feedback, and I'm in here looking around for feedback, and I was like, how are you not in the CC Discord? Like,
and like any reasonable feedback, like, you know, hey, you might want to take a look into this, you know, make this tiny adjustment that will take, you know, 35 minutes of just tweaking a little bit. Just quiet. It's just
and it's always good. There's such good feedback in there too.
That CC Discord is for both War Thunder and Enlisted, right? Like,
there's people in there. Like the idea, I guess, is that like the content managers are supposed to be taking that feedback to the dev team, but like they have so much on their plate already, you know.
Yeah.
So I don't see how that's possible that they're able to do that, you know. That seems insane to me that they're taking the time to do that. Because like I emailed them to ask for some gold for the clip of the week thing, and they were like, "Yeah, we don't have enough manpower to make sure that you're not just like giving those away for free." I was like, "Oh, all right, well."
Giving it okay.
Well, I mean that makes sense, right? That's fair.
It does,
like,
it does.
But like they don't have a lot of manpower for that team, and that Anyway, that's besides the point.
Yeah.
We'll get into it here. Welcome to episode 6, I believe, of the Enlisted Podcast with special guest this week of Valdez here.
Thank you.
Who is definitely a big Enlisted streamer, but mainly War Thunder, I think is fair to say, right?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, but you have maxed out every campaign in Enlisted, which makes sense. If you're coming from War Thunder, you know the grind.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah.
I knew what I was getting into when I started playing Enlisted.
For sure. And you play a decent amount on stream, but you play off stream as well, right?
Enlisted, yes, because unfortunately the sad fact is that you probably know that there is not a big viewer base for Enlisted.
Yeah, not yet. Hopefully that changes. We'll see as we go on. But yeah, so welcome. We've got a couple stuff that we're going to be talking about. We're going to start off with the big thing, and that's obviously Stalingrad and everything that comes with Stalingrad. I figure we could probably start with the smaller stuff and then go into the progression. That seemed fair to everybody. So the small stuff being...
Sounds good.
Weapons that we might want to see, weapons that could happen. The sounds. I think the sound update's pretty cool. And then, of course, the nerfs, the buffs, the medics, the bombing runs. Bombing runs, I guess, might come later because, the off-map stuff that we could talk about. So,
moving AT guns?
Moving AT guns. Yeah, if that ever shows up.
I hate you all.
So starting off, like, one of my biggest things that I'm excited for is actually the buffs to bolt actions. And I'm sure Enlightened is also probably pretty excited for that.
Very.
Yeah.
Very bolt action chads only.
Yeah, bolt action. So anybody that might not have known, like, bolt actions are going to be getting a big buff. They're going to be more likely to just outright kill rather than just down, which I think is a huge buff to the weapons. And then they also said that SMGs are going to be getting a damage nerf. How do you guys feel about that?
I don't know who starts.
Anyone can just
jump in when you feel like, man.
I think it's a very classic Gaijin to do both a buff on one end and a nerf on at the same time. So like in War Thunder, they like to increase the BR and the repair cost at the same time instead of just doing the logical thing and just doing either or, right? And I've been playing a lot of Tunisia lately, and like the scoped Enfield with all the correct perks is just mind-blowingly good.
Oh yes.
And I feel like that's gonna be like the meta in Stalingrad through and through. Because like, and if you get a G41, like why would you use that when you can just cycle any bolt action rifle like as fast now?
Yeah, theoretically, for sure. And and with the nerfs to the semis, like, with the bolt action bolt speed perk for them, you can bolt them. Like, you're a little bit slower, but with the benefit of not downing people and just outright killing them, it's...
Yeah.
But we'll see how it goes. I mean... Sorry, go ahead.
Well, your hip fires on your snipers are the best as far as, like, dispersion goes.
Yeah, they have
So as long as you're, like, decent, being able to hip fire with it and kind of just anticipating where they go, like, you're going to be a god tier at that. And I feel like that's going to be kind of the shift of the meta even more so now. Like, people are going to run bolt actions before they run anything else, almost.
I'd like to see, I don't know if I'd go as far as to say, like, bolt actions are going to become the go-to. And I don't know if I would even dislike that, because I do think bolt actions of all the weapons in the game are, higher skill cap compared to, like, hip firing with a PPSH, right? Like, so we'll see what happens. Like, I think that bolt actions are going to become relevant. Whether they become the meta, I do think that Validuzz is correct in, like, Tunisia, with the sniper rifles that are in Tunisia and with the maps in Tunisia, like, snipers are going to become borderline oppressive. I mean, like you said, the Lee Enfield is whack. And then the Carcano,
Carcanos,
Mod 38 Carcano sniper is also insane. Like that's like Tunisia has like the top 2 snipers in the entire game, arguably.
What's it gonna do to the Winchester?
Yeah, I was kind of thinking about that the other day. I wonder if that's thrown in there.
So like bolt actions in Stalingrad though are going to be pretty much to Mosin variants and KR98, variants basically.
Well, are the buffs and the nerfs coming to the whole campaign, like all the whole game?
No, it's just Stalingrad right now, I believe.
Oh, for the buffs. Okay.
Yeah.
See, I thought it was like just this. I thought it'd be like medics would only come. Okay, but the buffs are only going to come. That's weird. So yeah, they're just using it as a testing ground, which I like that. I like that they're using Stalingrad as this like test ground. It's interesting,
I do worry that since they're only using one campaign as a testing ground for something like damage and all that stuff, I do worry that they're gonna start changing stuff around on a campaign basis. So like all the different campaigns are gonna have different damage and all that stuff. And I don't know if I'm a fan of that. Because if the same weapons have different behaviors on different campaigns,
that kind of undermines the whole transfer system then though too if you do that. Because if I transfer over, a Lee Enfield from let's just say Tunisia to Normandy or vice versa, right? Like if they act completely differently, I've just wasted, orders to do this.
Big facts.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, transferring is already so trash to begin with. But yes, yeah.
Yes, it is. It's a waste of time.
See, DeWin said that he thinks the buff is game wide.
I mean, let's
find. I agree with you guys because I remember them saying some stuff like the sounds are definitely only in Stalingrad from what I remember, right?
I'm looking at it right now.
Let's go find the news.
We'll just now take a closer. You've already seen key features exclusive features.
So I'd like to know it is an important. Oh, whoops. Oh yeah, the Stalingrad maps.
Oh god.
Very excited for that. All right, well they. No, I think you're right. No. I think Validuzz and you guys are right because it says in Stalingrad we'll experience many important firearm changes for the first time, and then it says advanced recoil, damage rebalancing, new shot effects and sounds, and that would only be in Stalingrad and may appear in other campaigns in the future. So yeah, it's only coming to Stalingrad for now.
It's a test, pretty much.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, I think that's a good change, like those weapons. But no, Valdez, you're right. Like, I don't want them to balance the game on a per campaign basis. I don't think that's a good idea. I do like using Stalingrad as a testing ground because I think that's a good idea because who gives a shit about Stalingrad? Like at the end of the day, right? Like we've been talking for months now about like...
But it's a turning point of the war!
Yeah, like, well, we've been talking months now. Like no one cares about Stalingrad. Like it's not a campaign that we're excited for. And I actually think it's a good idea for them to do it this way because you don't want to mess up the Pacific, right? Because that's going to be huge. And so they use Stalingrad as like a test bed to make these kind of substantial changes to the game and get stuff nailed down. And then they release the Pacific with a really like, polished kind of thing.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. It is also a way to drive up hype for Stalingrad, which a lot of people feel is a very flat campaign.
Yep.
Like, not a lot of hype to it.
Yeah, no, for sure. So, I like it. I think that, I'm not, like I said in my video, I was like, I'm not excited for Stalingrad as a setting, but I'm excited for the changes that are happening to the game within Stalingrad.
Yeah, absolutely. I like if we didn't get the changes to the weapons and the sounds, I'd be like,
yeah, exactly. And like but I like these changes to the weapons overall. I like the balancing because it also points, in my opinion, it points towards what they've been doing where they're trying to make each weapon class be like very specific, right? Like bolt actions are good at doing this, right? Semi-autos are good at this. SMGs are good at this, right? Because like the damage nerf to me, I imagine it's probably going to be a like a damage fall off nerf, right? Like I don't think it would be just a raw damage nerf because that doesn't make sense to me. Like they're going to make SMGs just worse at like close range. It would make sense for them to do like a damage fall off nerf. So then SMGs are dominant up close, but then trash at range.
Yeah,
It does say, on the other hand, damage on submachine guns will decrease a bit.
Yeah.
That's what. So, like, I don't know. Like, that's such bad wording. Like, is it all overall, like you're saying, or is it like, hey, like the drop off is? Hopefully, it's the drop off. Because
I hope it's the drop, and that's what makes sense to me because they're trying to make each weapon, you know, very unique. Each weapon class is unique and it's good at its thing, right? Bolt actions are going to be, you know, they're going to be high damage, high skill, but if you miss, well, now you have to bolt the weapon. You're in a bad spot. Probably not very good up close, right? Low magazine size, so on and so forth. MGs are really powerful at all ranges, but they're really uncontrollable for the most part. And also the weapon recoil nerf seems to be pointing towards that with LMGs as well. You know, semi-autos are your jack of all trades, but they're not really good at anything, right? They're just okay at everything. And then SMGs are going to be your like close quarters weapons. So I don't know. It makes sense to me, and I hope that's what they do.
Shotguns are poor shotguns still.
Yeah, shotguns still suck. Yep, shotgun, and then shotguns suck.
Osby shreds, bro. I don't know what you're talking about.
Dude, it used to be so much better. I hope we do get more shotgun buffs, but
free the auto 5.
And I did want to mention, I wanted to mention this too, Valdez, is it's nice to have you on this podcast too, because like you have so much experience with War Thunder, obviously, and with how Gaijin kind of does things. Yeah. And while Darkflow, I think, is a little different, obviously they are still basically Gaijin.
They're the War Thunder puppet state.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're a War Thunder puppet state. And it seems like they are at least somewhat different. And they have some autonomy, but it's like what you mentioned with you know, Gaijin buffing and then nerfing a thing at the same time. I thought that was that's useful, and I don't feel like me or Enlightened or Jason quite have that same insight kind of thing.
But when I go on my Gaijin rant, I like to call it my War Thunder lore, because it really is like it like War Thunder has its whole like development story with all the weird things that came with it.
Yeah. All right, so weapon sounds, everybody agrees they sound pretty good. I like how they sound.
Yeah, they did a lot better job with that for sure.
Yeah,
that's like the biggest positive.
Yeah, they've got good punch to them now. How do you guys feel about medics?
Oh, out of all the possible classes and stuff they could have added, medics was like the very tail end in my own personal, like, you know, this is needed list.
Yeah.
I mean, like every soldier in the game right now is technically a medic. Unless they be giving the ability, which would also be game breaking, you know, the battlefield revive, like, you know, you can actually get a dead guy back to life. Medics, I don't think, have a point in the game.
Yeah, it's gonna be weird. I actually think they might be kind of broken, because it said that they get med kits that are like super med kits that like full heal you,
which is weird because super med kits were in the game at one point.
Right, and so they brought those back, but for medics. But the insane thing for that is like, what if their stats are like they can get vitality, they can get plus vitality, so then you have plus vitality medics running around with med kits that can full heal them with SMGs.
The vitality class perk is already on the Flamethrower guys, though.
Oh no, I mean, but you could, but if they have 16 vitality, they can just roll it. So I don't know. That could be really insane to me. Like, they're better assaulters, right? Because I can't imagine that they get too reduced weapon handling to where they can't get vertical recoil, right?
They do not have a backpack slot though. So imagine carrying a PPSH or whatever, and you don't have an ammo bag. Right. Like, oh, okay, you know, 4 guys are out of ammo.
That's true.
Yep.
I mean, it could be worth it though. Like, say now, especially with the LMG recoil thing, if you have to pick between, let's just say, an LMG, a sniper, or a medic, you're 99.9% of the time going to pick the medic now, because now you're going to have one extra assaulter in your assault squad. Or like, I feel like you could make it like the poor man's assaulter, right? Like, it might not be great, but I feel like a lot of people will pick it just so they can use an SMG, especially in Stalingrad, where it's like point blank fighting in Pavlov's house.
Yeah,
right. It's like jumping out with a T30 T35 with the 6 guys with PPSHs.
Yeah, exactly. Like you give
Moscow.
Thompsons all to your Grant guys, and then once
Grant,
and you just jump out and run at the objective. Like you got 6 fucking dudes now that are assaulters, so you can basically serpent where you only have 3 assault squads. Now you can get it where you have like 4 assault squads.
Yeah, I do agree though that like of the classes, it's not really an interesting one. Like people just die so much in Enlisted that like when was the last time you guys actually revived a soldier? Like that wasn't like they picked themselves up. Like never.
Like... I have not figuratively. I have literally never done that.
Yeah,
I think I did it. I did it once on accident. I think because one of the AI they like walked in front of me.
Yeah, I think the only times I've ever done it was if I was like playing with someone, like I was like queued up with someone and they like died next to me, so I was like, I got you, bro, and like revived them as a joke. But like I've never done it as like I want to do this. Yeah, I want to do this as an actual good idea kind of thing.
Like this is the best course of action in the current situation. This is beneficial for.
Yeah, exactly. It is. If you get shot, your best course of action is press Y and switch to the next
for
guy.
Reviving people in Enlisted, do you?
No.
I think you get like maybe a little bit.
Probably like 1 point.
I don't think you get it. I don't think you do.
Yeah, I don't think there is.
I don't think you do.
Maybe you don't. But even if you do, it's worth like 20 points at most. So
yeah.
It's really not useful. I think maybe if they made it to where if you went down, even if you don't have a med kit, you still have the chance to go down. Maybe then medics would be maybe more useful, and then you just like bleed out over 8 seconds. But then you'd have so many more soldiers that are like constantly just bleeding out on the ground.
Yeah, just crawling around on the ground.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like the only thing that I'm pretty much the only thing that I actually will make medics viable, at least in the way I play and like the way I want to utilize them, is that if they actually make it another type of being down. So you have down state where you can actually crawl around, and then like dead but bleeding out, so you can actually revive them while they're down, like like a last stand thing, where they're like just clinging to life. So you actually have this middle ground where you can actually revive dead soldiers, but it's only a small percentage where that's a thing.
Yeah, it just feels like such a niche situation, right? That you'd ever. Yeah. So I don't know. It's cool that they added them, and I think there's players out there who might want to play around with the medics and use them. But I don't think
people will definitely play with them.
Yeah, but I don't think generally speaking, it's very. I would have preferred an auto rifleman class, right? Like.
Facts. It does show a shift, though. Go ahead, Jason.
No, I was gonna say, if I remember right, I believe Enlisted, when it was announced, there were like some wild classes, like shotguns were like its own class at one point. There were supposed to be like 12 classes.
Yeah.
I think you're seeing a shift, though. I think that like with a lot of these additions that they're doing, they're definitely trying to shift it more towards like tactical team play. I feel like.
Yeah, which is good
like
for
that.
Sure.
It's something that the game does lack.
Yeah, it's just a fucking arcade. Just run around shooting people. Like you play as a team.
Val, you've been asked to wear your hat.
Was build rally points.
Wear my hat?
No, Val has been asked to wear your hat. I don't know what that means.
I think it's this one.
There you go. There you go. Oh, nice.
Excellent.
Nice. But yeah, it's moving towards. I think it's definitely moving towards. Like more tactical play, which definitely good because they're also nerfing the recoil a lot, right? And that's something that we've been. Yeah, did you see the video of like the advanced recoil that they're doing?
Yeah, I thought they were just changing the recoil, not reducing the recoil.
No, increasing the recoil.
Oh, yeah.
Needs to happen.
At least for the gun that we saw.
Yeah. I mean, like, I never go full auto with LMGs either way. Like, I don't see the point in it. You just use it as a rapid fire DMR. Just keep on clicking, and you'll be on target anyway.
Yeah, unless you're like braced or something, you can't really too much horizontal.
Something burst, 3 to 5 second burst.
Yep. But we'll see what happens. Bombing run we can talk about later. I think that's everything about the basic stuff. So we can. I mean, the elephant in the room is the progression, right? So what are you guys' just like I think I know personally about your guys' thoughts for the most part, but your raw thoughts on
get ready for more tank destroyers in a city.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for the actual leveling, yeah.
SU-76 in city battles, yay!
Stuke 3A is gonna be the same thing too.
Oh god.
Yeah, it's gonna be rough. Hey, chat. I'm also just gonna say, by the way,
I like it that it's rapid.
I'm not talking to chat for now.
It adds a competitive element to it now. That you're not just like, there's not a skill gap based off of equipment, right? It's based off of just literally skill, like how well you can play a first-person shooter. What sucks is, and I hope that they do roll it out eventually for the free-to-play players, where they have that rapid progression in Stalingrad. Maybe just like not right off the bat, because we've talked 100 times about how progression is completely too long. But I would like it where, yeah, like campaigns are more, you're just playing for the experience, not for the grind. But I understand where like War Thunder players or people that just like to work towards things would like that grind mindset too, I guess.
Yeah, I think the grind is important. Like, the grind is a fundamental part of the game. But I think it's better to be asking the question, is the grind too short, than asking the question, is the grind too long? Like, I do think ×4 on top of premium being ×6 or ×8, however the math works out, is going to be too short. Like,
yeah, I think it was guesstimated by the devs that like, oh, the grind with premium account and the buying and everything, that like, oh, the grind is gonna be like 2 days, and I'm like, 2 days?
Yeah.
Did I hear that like 2 weeks was about like, oh yeah, you know what, that's doable, nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it will end up being too short, but I would much rather it be too short than be too long, because I think too long is a lot more prohibitive.
And that's where you get the filler levels too.
Yeah, exactly. Right, and that's the thing is, like, with Stalingrad, like, yeah, we're gonna unlock the MP40 for the 5th time, and that sucks. But I'm a lot less upset about unlocking the MP40 for the 5th time if I unlock it in like 4 games.
An hour.
Yeah, or like an hour.
Yeah,
like, that's so much. Like, I don't care. I don't care if I unlock some shitty plane, right? Like, that I don't care about because it's a copy of a different plane in the game, right? The BF-109G versus the BF-109F or whatever it is, right? Like, I don't care about unlocking copies of it if it only takes me like 2 or 3 games to unlock it. It's a problem when it takes me 4.5 hours and then I unlock something that I don't care about because it's a copy. That sucks. But if I unlock it quickly, then it's much less of a big deal to me.
Rip those Normandy rifle grenade launchers.
Yeah, like, if I unlock that quickly, I don't think I'd be that annoyed.
Either, so.
Imagine unlocking the FG-42, and then you're like, yeah, you know what? Here's a Kar 98 with a grenade launcher that you will never ever use. Nice.
Yeah. Terrible. So yeah, I don't know. That's definitely my thoughts on it. I would much rather it be fast than short. But I will ask the question if it is too short, because again, the grind is important. I think times, it's ×4 now. I think ×2 on top of premium would be fine.
The initial Tunisia's launch, when it was plus 50% XP,
yeah,
I thought that was spot on, because it was a grind, but you progressed through it at a what felt as natural pace.
Yeah, fairly reasonable pace. Yeah, what they need to hit, and this I feel like War Thunder has this, and Enlisted struggles with this, is when you unlock a new squad, then, well, there's more issues that go into this, but you need that time to like use that squad and be like, oh, this is how it works, and kind of like figure out those ins and outs. In Enlisted, by the time you figure out those ins and outs, you're nowhere near the next level. Right? And so it just kind of is like, oh, now I'm just continuing this grind and it sucks because I'm not really like learning anything new. I'm just grinding. Right? And that sucks.
And then it's like grind 5 levels to get the next big unlock that I really want.
Yeah, exactly. Well, in like War Thunder, it's like, oh, I unlocked a new tank. And then when I unlock this new tank, maybe I go to a new BR, and now I'm using this new tank with a different armor, and I'm going against new enemy tanks with different armor, and I have a different gun that pins at different ways, and I have different speeds, maybe new maps, like all these different things. While in Enlisted, it's like, I unlock a new thing, and I'm playing against the same enemies with basically the same equipment on the same maps for the entire grind. And I feel like that lack of variety and that lack of kind of change really makes the grind feel way worse, you know?
Yeah.
And it also, it doesn't help too that like you go from Assaulter 1s to Assaulter 2s to Assaulter 3s, and like that gameplay is the same, right? Like, yeah, maybe I have a PPSH with a drum mag now, but like, is that really any fundamentally different in how I play the game than,
No.
you know, versus going from like in War Thunder, like going from an IS-1 to an IS-2 is kind of a different experience, you know? Like, you kind of have to play a little different, and it's a little bit more interesting.
Right.
But I think the big complaint that people have with this is like a lot of people are saying this new pass for Stalingrad is going to be pay to win. How do you guys?
What, the buy-in?
Yeah, the buy-in. Yeah, that's the big complaint. What are you guys' kind of initial?
I mean, it's cheaper than what Tunisia and Berlin was.
It's true.
Depends on the levels that are only exclusive to people that buy in. I feel like that would be because, like, I mean, I think all four of us got the Founders Pack. I'm assuming, right? Okay, so like the PPK 41 is still a fucking amazing Founders Pack squad. Like, I still run that to this day. It's so fucking good.
Most of the Founder squads are really strong.
Or even if you have like the event squad, right? Like the PPK 42 or whatever the hell that one is from the summer event. That's a super good squad, right?
Right.
If you weren't there, you just weren't there. You didn't know about it. You weren't there. You're fucked. You can't get these things. Like, that sucks. So like if they give us like really good unlocks, kind of on those levels, then yeah, I think it's kind of paid to win at that point.
What about the weapons and the rank 4 soldiers and stuff?
I'm fine with that.
I actually have no idea how that's gonna work. I just know that like I have like 1,500 bronze cards, like the weapon bronze cards. So like every single gun I'll have, like it doesn't matter if it's like I get them early or later. I'm just gonna be like, oh, upgrade, like extra weapon damage. Like
soldiers, get ready for a lot of shitty rolled 4-star soldiers.
I think that whole upgrade system of the weapons and soldiers is kind of stupid as it is, but that's just my personal opinion.
I don't mind the upgrading getting like rate of fire and stuff, because that like kind of makes sense. Like you're putting in good parts to make the weapon bolt faster or something. But like it getting more damage doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
Yeah, like a bullet is a bullet. Well, I guess you could put more powder in it or make it a different type of
yeah, but like that's,
if you want to get
that's gonna cause
the soldier only gets half load in bullet. It is to save cost. This guy gets good bullet.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's some enemy at the gates level shit right there, man.
Yeah, no shit, no fucking shit.
Stalingrad.
I've always said that like I wished that they did things kind of on the level of how you train your crew in War Thunder. I really like that, where you like play with it and then you kind of can progress it. And I think you should have like kind of like categories. And I've been thinking on this for a little bit actually, like weapon handling. Like you can train, like you get one little square or whatever, right? And you can like bring it up to weapon handling. You can go up to weapon handling. You can go up. And that would help with like your reload speed, your aim speed, how you manage fucking recoil, like that. Because you could train a troop you could train a soldier. Go ahead.
The crews in War Thunder, exactly like that.
Yeah. And I think that I honestly think that should get rid of the fucking perk system completely. I hate perks. I've said this 100 times. I hate the perk thing. It's a randomization. I hate randomization, and I hate sitting there just going and clicking retrain, and then randomization comes up, and then I got to reroll and then do. I think that you just have it where it's like, hey, look, you unlocked, we'll just say Trooper 2, right? I forget what they can roll, but you get what I'm saying. Like they start off with so many of those squares already, but literally everyone can get to the end state if you grind out long enough. Yeah, like I think that's just a better system.
I think it's possible for them to do that. Like going forward, I think it's possible that they could do that because of the fact that like previously that didn't really work because they had the academy, and so you didn't really keep the same troops. But
exactly.
now that they've reworked that, and now you only have your one set of troops, I think that would make sense to do a different system than this, just like perks, right?
Right, and then like the good thing is you can, because it's going to be a grind, and as we've stated, the grind is important. But then you can kind of curtail how you want your guys, what you want to invest in first. Like, Valdez, jump in here because you're the only good War Thunder player we have. Maybe Jason. Hell, I don't know. He's good at every game.
I'm a great MiG-21 pilot.
I'm a War Thunder tourist that plays maybe twice every year.
I was donated $60 to buy a premium jet, and then
thanks to wins
ruined people's ARB games by being terrible.
But if you have if you have a crew that's you're these are going to be my fighter crew, you're not going to invest in defensive armaments because you don't have a fucking tail gun or anything, right? So you can kind of curtail your squad, if you will, or troop based on how you want them to play as you progress forward. So if you have an SMG guy, you're looking at, run speed and weapon handling, right? You're going to look at those two, and whatever the other categories is, you're get fucked. Eventually we'll get to that point, but
yeah, definitely.
I actually really enjoy what you're saying here, Enlightened. It's very enlightened of you, huh? And I actually think it's pretty clever. I never actually heard anyone talk about this way of progressing with the soldiers, and it's definitely something they need to take a look at. I mean, even if it takes a really long time, I mean, it's more grind for the players. They love that idea, but I mean, it removes the RNG factor. The perks are rather on the extreme side, plus 35 vitality. That's a lot of extra health. And
sorry, go ahead. Okay, I was just saying, would there be? We're struggling. Would there be perks? Would you be able to train for the AI?
Well, no, I think that you do. I think you do it where, how you already get the little squad point thing where you can pick you want 1, 2, 3, 4.
Right.
The hot set. I think that you as you play with that squad, you get these little progressions. I don't know if you do it on an individual level yet or a squad level yet. I'm leaning more towards squad just for simplicity, because then it's going to be a really long grind. If you have a 9-man infantry squad and you got to do each individual one, that would really suck. I don't know. I haven't really I've got it down on my whiteboard behind me. I'm still trying to play this out in my mind a little bit. But I think that you should be able to. There shouldn't be any perks at all. There'd be no perks.
All
your benefits are those how you train your troops. So if you give them better weapon handling, we'll just say that's the category, right? Eventually that starts to take the place of your weapon aim speed, your reload speed, your vertical, your horizontal recoil.
Okay.
So it's taking that into effect. So once you get to a certain point, it's hey, look, you've gotten 5 little fucking Tetris squares, right? Now you reload faster. You've got, 7 Tetris squares. Now you have -1 vertical recoil. So you can, I'm going to curtail my guys based off of that.
Very much like the tank crews in War Thunder.
Well, kind of, but in War Thunder, isn't it? It's more of a linear thing. It's each point you put into reload speed reduces your reload speed by 3% or some shit, right? Did I die?
You cut out for a second. Sorry, it might have been me.
Okay. So in War Thunder, I thought it was you put a point into weapon reload speed, and then it's you get 3% reduced reload speed. And then if you put another point, it's 6%, and then 9%, and then 12% or whatever. Obviously, I think those numbers are high, but you understand what I'm saying. It sounded like you were saying it's more of if I put a point into weapon handling, then I get nothing, and then nothing, and then nothing, and then my 4th point, I get reload speed.
I mean, you could do it that way. I was thinking more on the War Thunder, but it was the big ones come in at a certain point. It might, your speed might not be 20% until you get to 4, but it might be, 10, 10, 10, right? So the first point you get in, you got a 10% quicker aim speed. I know that's really high, right?
Right. But, no, you're good.
You keep going where it's incremental. And that way, it, honestly, it feels like that squad is getting better as you kind of go forward with it too. So it's, and then I think you should be able to invest the way that people can tweak their squads to how they play. Like, I know myself and Joey, we don't give a shit about vitality. We only care about weapon aim speed and weapon reload speeds and stuff.
I think Joey cares about vitality, but that's not the point.
He said he didn't. I thought he said he didn't. Okay. Well, all right. Very well. Joey, if I misquoted you, I'm sorry. All right. I don't give a shit about, I know that. I don't really give a shit about vitality. I care about how quick I can get my gun on target, how fast I can reload it, and if I can stay on target. Those are the only three things I care about.
Right.
So, but with like a sniper, I might want to care more about like its stamina so I can hold my breath longer or something like that. Like Valdez was talking earlier, like with the right perks, the Model T or the Curcano, they become god tier. Well, they're already god tier, but they become even better, right? I think
they go from like good to like straight up overpowered.
The Curcano animation with bolt reload speed.
It looks like it's
hilarious.
Bugged. Yeah. But so would you be able to get like points that upgrade your AI though? Like, would these points actually change how your AI function? Like, if you upgraded your weapon accuracy or something, or your recoil, would that affect your AI? Like, could I build my squad in a way that made my AI really good, or could I build my squad in a way that like?
I was under the impression it already did.
Yeah, I mean,
because at least stuff like
it does vitality, obviously. But I don't know if anything else does. They don't have recoil as far as I know.
Well, no, but like the perks, like I don't know. Maybe you just make it how it is right now. Let's just assume that the perks that you give your AI squad members when you are not controlling them are dormant, right? Until you take control of them. Maybe you just have it dormant for those guys until you take control of them as well.
Yeah, I don't know. I always really like the idea of having the AI be a little bit more of a central part of the game. Because right now, the AI are the selling point of Enlisted, right? Like, that's the whole fun of the game, is like you have your AI squad and you're gunning down tons of enemy AI squad. And I always thought it was really strange how shit the AI are. And not that they should be super good, but more so that there's not very many mechanics in the game that interact with the AI. Like, the AI, for all intents and purposes, are basically just flesh bags for you to take control of when you die. And
they can't even stay inside of a building properly.
And I've said I wanted an officer class that buffs the AI, and I know that Validuzz made a really good point that begins to be able to let people just sit on an objective and like farm kills from their AI with being really passive, which is definitely like, you don't want that. That's pretty lame. But I wonder if there's like, could I deck my AI out to be like a little bit better in some way, and make the AI a little bit more interactable, just with the kind of general gameplay.
I feel like instead of making it up to you as a player to, teach the AI to be, like get better skills, I think they just need to overall like give AI certain pathings and whatnot. For example, like especially in trenches, it is ridiculous that they keep climbing in and out of the trenches. Like, why not make it a very easy pathing for the AI? The AIs see, this path where they take and have certain positions where the AIs actually, take cover. They, hunker down behind, the low walls and just like shoot over them. And like Company of Heroes, for example, was an RTS game released so many years ago now. And even that game with the RTS, the soldiers, they actually know when they're near a wall and, they enter the building and they can shoot through that shit. Like, why can't we have that in FPS format?
Yeah. And make them, I wish that there was more. It would be nice if it was like, maybe instead of just like passively upgrading the AI, it would be more of like, an active part that the player has to do. Like, if I put a defend order down and then I'm marking enemies, then my AI will be a lot more reactive and like accurate towards those enemies or something like that. So then there is a level of like player skill, right? And then you can incorporate kind of what you're saying, Validuzz, where it's like, hey, take cover in this trench, and then they go and they get down in the trench, and then they start popping up, and I can be like, yo, shoot over there, and then they like look that way while I'm shooting that way too.
Or like, sorry.
Go ahead. No, you're good.
What about like, just a simple thing like buildings, like, hey, garrison that building. They have predetermined spots in the building where they're supposed to stand and, peek out of the buildings and whatnot. Machine gunner AIs, like I don't like, machine gunners being stronger than they already are, but I mean, just telling your machine gunner AI to like, hey, specifically grab that window and, then they get this little cone where they actually will open fire and kill shit.
Oh yeah,
and then
there's a game on Steam called Easy Red 2 that is very similar to Enlisted. Well. Yeah, it's like $6, and it's very similar to Enlisted, where you have like squads that you can like swap between and stuff. And they straight up have that. Like the AI will go and they will get into buildings and they will go into the windows and then they will sit in the window, and like snipers are more likely to be in buildings. The MGs will go and like bipod down up in a window on the second floor, and then they'll like mow people down in front of them and stuff. Like I agree. I don't know why they don't have that. Like I think KO Fox literally said that the AI don't know the difference between inside and outside.
Yes.
Yep.
Which is like, why?
So there was a what was this? I'm trying to find this game. Give me a second. Oh, it's Full Spectrum Warrior.
And I remember that game.
Yeah, you controlled 2 squads. It came out in 2004, so I'm showing my age. And you controlled, an Alpha and a Bravo. So you had 2 squads, and you could control where they moved. And then this circle would come up, and you'd be like, "Hey, area fire in this area, focus fire in this area," right? And it gave you a lot more control of where things, like how you interacted. But you could literally, like they almost looked like Tetris blocks. I keep bringing up fucking Tetris blocks, but where you could tell them like, "Hey, you go over there," and it would like put those blocks up against the wall. And then you just hit X or whatever, right? And then they would go and they would run and they would go there and seek cover. I don't like the little I think individual orders, that's way too fucking tedious. No one's going to take the time to switch through fucking 9 guys, right? Or 5 guys or whatever. But they should break it up into fire teams, right? Do it as like groups of 3, right? Alpha, Bravo.
Brothers in arms.
Yeah, brothers in arms. You 3 get the fuck over there. You 3 get the fuck over there. You 3 go that way. And then you could kind of, select between them and kind of tell them exactly what, focus this way, you focus this way, you focus this way. That'll be very situational for sure, but it gives you a lot more control than just like you mashing X and the little fucking yellow or green little dot that I can never fucking see because I'm colorblind is like just somewhere. And it's like, just give me where I can pick 3 guys and I could go and a little green thing comes out and I move my mouse, where I want it to go. And then I click and then they just go to that spot. So if I want them down in the trench, the little green, kind of like, just think of, little rally points or where you're building shit. It just comes up and you can move it and you drop it down. Boom, done. They're there. Perfect.
Yeah, I definitely like more ability to manipulate the AI, just where they move, where they're looking, where they're covering, stuff like that, instead of them just like randomly moving around and dying all the time.
Yeah.
Or finding the most obscure way into a building.
Oh,
yeah. You jump into a window.
Underneath bunkers.
Yeah.
Yeah, you jump into a window and they're like, "Oh shit, we can't do that." And then they'll like run all the way around the building and go in through the door and get slaughtered. It's like, God damn it.
Yeah. The good thing is that, well, good and bad. The AI, as far as I know, is machine learning, which would make me think it's deep learning AI. And so it should only be getting better, right? Like, I mean, it depends on what their conditions for success are, and it depends on what the devs actually choose as the parents for the next generation of AI. But like, they should only be getting better over time. But again, that it gets scary because if they're copying player actions and learn from players, that's how we get the drop shotting that we currently have in game. So kind of need to be careful with stuff like that.
What I can say, actually, praise Darkflow/Gaijin for doing, is that it actually has improved significantly from its launch.
Exactly, yeah, for sure. And I think it could only, I mean, like I said, the way that machine learning and the deep learning AI work is amazing. And putting on my game dev hat, like I really like Enlisted from the development point of view, because it is one of the only games that I can think of where like deep learning AI is actually like a really fundamentally core part of the game and can be used in really cool and interesting ways. So, I mean, just like how good the AI has gotten over the past year, I wonder how they'll be a year from now or 2 years, 3 years, right? Like, there's a point where you kind of have to. Everybody complains about how dumb the AI are now, but like Darkflow could easily make the AI like the most absurd things ever. Like, you know, with the flick of a switch, right?
Shades of closed beta AI shooting you through a forest and swamps.
Yeah.
Fucking Shroud on the other team as the entire AI.
Yeah.
Fuck. So it's why they got to figure it out for the Pacific, because that would be terrible gameplay.
Yeah, it was so apparent when you play Tunisia, like grind Tunisia with very little foliage. Things are just super smooth. You're having a lot of fun, and then you get to that one map where there's this oasis with a lot of like foliage and stuff.
Oh yeah, oasis.
And you just see tracers coming out of that. Yeah. And you're like, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or running through the poppy field or whatever, the lavender field. It's just like, where am I getting shot from?
Yeah, and then like Eric said, the AI like don't have object permanence in any way. So it's like you poke up and shoot an AI, and like the whole squad turns and looks at you, and then you just get behind a door, and the AI is like, well, must have been the wind. Like,
yeah. Like the NPCs. Like,
yeah, like Skyrim NPCs.
Yeah.
Billy's dead. I guess it's nothing.
There goes Billy.
I used to be a conscript like you, but I took Carnatier to the face.
It's terrible. So we'll see how that works. The AI is one of those things that is just ever changing and will forever be worked on. But I would like to see.
Sure.
I would like to see more interactions between players and the AI, and just more mechanics in general to interact with the AI. I think that's just more interesting. They're a core part of the game, and we should them just being meat suits for the players to shove their consciousness in every time you die is.
One thing regarding the now we're on the AI subject, I would like to see, especially with the inclusion of a Pacific campaign in the future, is more cinematic melee kills, like not just for you, but for the AI. Like, wouldn't it be really cool that like you enter a building and you already see like two guys fighting and stuff, and like instead of just going.
That would be really cool, actually. Yeah, you're right. Like the AI feel like AI. They feel really like.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder why. That's actually a good point. Like there should be more animations and stuff. And I mean, I understand firsthand how fucking ridiculously hard animating stuff is, especially like animations like that. But I don't see why it would be impossible to do stuff like that, where you know, if two AI get into melee combat range, they go into some kind of animation where they fight.
I mean, it doesn't need to be like something that would necessarily be hard to animate, like, scripted melee freaking engagements, bar brawl style. But I mean, like, let's look at Battlefield 1 when you like bayonets charge someone, like you run up and you stick the bayonet in them, like they fall down, and then you rip the gun out, and it's like that actually would make the game look hell of a lot more cinematic and way cooler than it is right now.
Yeah, for sure.
I guess the only problem I would wonder how you would fix it is, like, let's just say you enter the building, the two AI guys are fucking, going John Basilone on each other, right? Like, what happens if you switch to them then? Like, then do you get like? It would be cool if you got like hit Q and R real quick, and like you have to like fight it off.
No. I think it'd be like Battlefield. I mean, if you gave those animations to the AI, there's no reason why you couldn't give them to players, right?
Well, no, but if they're like full on like trying to butt rifles on each other, and like standard rifle manual, right? You're like blocking that shit and stuff.
Yeah, that's why I don't think I think that's a pretty valid reason to not go with what I was saying of having like scripted bayonet like fights, and I think more what Valdez is saying with like the Battlefield 1 just animation of dude's prone, and then you're like stab, and it does some like cool stab animation,
Yeah, instead of him being stabbed and flying off in a cartwheel, right?
Exactly.
Well, hell, the damn melee combat thing is broken anyhow in the game. They got to fix that anyhow right now.
Yeah. And did any of you guys play?
Yes.
Alien versus Predator from like 2013 or whatever. When you melee someone from the back, you got a really cinematic, really cool kill, and like something like that would also be really cool.
Or you're
like
playing
Yeah, even if it doesn't necessarily make sense, like you go up behind someone and maybe like take out your sidearm, you just put up and then the face, and you just keep on going. Like, who knows? The game makes some really cool shit with that.
Yeah, I think they should have it where you go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you said you. I was just gonna say, like, you're talking about Alien vs Predator and like the cool animations for dying, and all I remember is playing a Marine and like literally getting my head ripped off and then like thrown, and it like keeps your camera in your head, and like you're like, oh, okay, like great.
My favorite one was as an alien, you could like have the tail like come up, like poke his shoulders, so it looks over, and you just slit the head, and you just go whoop.
Yeah,
they should do that 100%. And they would be actually. There's a lot of ones you could do, like some really like actually historical ones too. Like you put the rifle over their neck. You come up from the behind with the rifle, and
Yep.
There's a lot of good ones that you could do. Actually, I think that would be. Yeah, they need to do that. Instead of me just like hitting them in the back.
Yeah, some sort of basic animations would be nice.
Honestly,
knife to the left armpit.
Anything just very basic, like whack him over the head in a stylized way that actually looks like it connects. And, the bayonet from Battlefield, as already mentioned, like it's some basic stuff like that, and just continuously add the animations. Like it's
just build it over time.
Yeah.
Make the AI a little bit less, robotic. More fluid, more, and that's good too, because I feel like one of the things Enlisted, a lot of people are drawn to Enlisted for is like the how cinematic it can be, I think people like that. What about we kind of skipped over this? There's going to be the customization stuff in Stalingrad. So we already know we're getting at least camouflages for tanks and decals for tanks. So first off, I would like to say I would like a decal. I would like a quadro decal.
Time to make my tank look like a bush, like in War Thunder.
Oh god. But I think there could be some really cool stuff going on with that. Do you guys think that might be the future of Enlisted? Is like, monetization through customization?
As long as the customizations make at least any kind of sense. Like, I would be against something that looks really quirky, but that fits the theater. And as long as it's highly limited. So you can have, like, I don't know if I have a good example here, but like a Twitch-related item, War Thunder has Twitch skins with the purple stripes on them, something like that, but that actually would really fit the theme, even though it's not, realistic.
Yeah, they said that they would do. They said they were really keeping that in mind. In the last
no crazy like anime Panther skin or anything is coming out.
Unfortunate.
Get the inlined Enlisted Peaky Blinders.
Hey, bro, I just want Kilroy was here. That's all I want, okay? I just want Kilroy was here.
One, yeah.
Why do we not? Yeah, we should have a Kilroy, like, spray. Why do we not have that?
I think that would be fucking awesome.
Because they have, like, the spray poster things. We just have a Kilroy.
We got that weird Chinese Lunar New Year one this year, man.
Uber racist.
Yeah.
I don't understand why. I know why, but why?
that was a yikes for me.
Yeah. No, I think the customization would be cool. I want to know if they, I don't know if they could do this. That would be really weird too in the system. Like, how like in Ground Branch, like where you put shit on your character matters, like how fast you reload and shit. Like where, in Ground Branch, like, where you put shit, it matters like
that game.
I used to play Rainbow Six Vegas 2 quite a lot, and that game had like basic character customization where like you put the armor parts and all that stuff that actually matter. And I mean, like I would definitely like to see stuff like that.
Yep.
Yeah, an old defunct shooting game called Blacklight did that as well.
Yeah, I think that'd be kind of cool. Like, I mean, Hell Let Loose has got great customizations for their characters too. Like, and it's very historically accurate. Very baseline, right? Shit like that would be cool too. I just don't want a bunch of kids running around with fucking SS lightning bolts. Like, yeah,
I'm an electrician.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Jesus. Yeah, that's what they think.
And it's not like the game has had that problem since the beginning, too.
Exactly.
But
I think.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I think that would be cool, though. I think that, like, headgear, maybe like just like facial changes, war paint kind of things. Like maybe stuff like that. I think would be pretty cool. I mean, the Germans especially have a fuck ton of uniform you can choose from. I mean, like the Americans, you're kind of shit out of luck. Like it's 2. Like maybe 3, like if we include like the bomber jacket.
But then
there's some stuff you can throw
52 different helmets with a different card on it.
Well, there you go. Yeah. See, perfect. See.
Yeah, I'm sure there's like for the Americans are always kind of the hard faction to do campaign stuff for generally because they really had like everyone just had the same stuff.
Standardization.
Yeah, but like I think vehicle wise you probably have a lot of stuff like pinups and War Thunder has no short of
I think that I was talking
rip out of it. Yeah, but for uniforms it's pretty rough. But I'm sure there's stuff. I mean, you can make one skin where you have rolled up sleeves and one skin where you don't. That's what Hella Loose does, right?
Good point.
You can run around. What is it? And you can wear the giant like winter jacket and like when you're running around in like Carrington
trench
and stuff.
coat.
Yeah.
Africa shorts in Normandy and stuff.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's the best way to play Foy.
Like, there's always going to be the people that are going to complain and be like, "Oh my god, it's not perfectly historical." But like, as long as it's stuff that doesn't look super ridiculous and out of place, I don't mind it.
As long as we don't have prosthetic arms.
Exactly.
Soldiers, I'm good.
Especially if it becomes the norm for monetization, right? Like, if that becomes the go-to monetization, and we don't have to worry about like premium bullshit and fucking $60 premium squads and everything, then I'm all for it. Like if the grind becomes better because someone wants to wear a trench coat in Africa, then fine by me.
I do like speaking of customization and whatnot, I do actually like some of the quirkier stuff like the golden and like engraved handguns and stuff like that.
Yeah, me too.
And I really like that stuff as long as it's like hard to get / event only. So like no store and no like regular unlocks, but I definitely love like events and Twitch unlocks for stuff like that.
Like the blued high power and stuff like that.
Yeah, I love that shit. But
so you wouldn't want even just like basic camos on your weapons or anything like that, or just like
No, like, you know what? One of the best things that I've seen they added as a reward was the sniper rifles with the cloth there in. And yeah, that was awesome. I'm like, why aren't you doing this like all the time?
Yeah, well, Twitch drops should happen all the time on Enlisted.
I mean,
think they have
just for silver cards, man.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like, they have such a good system, like, War Thunder, I feel like you can't. I mean, you could do it for like Silver Lions and stuff, and just do like drops for that. But Enlisted has such a great system for doing constant 24/7 Twitch drops. Like, you're gonna get people who farm, and that's kind of an annoying thing to deal with. But that's on Twitch. That's not on the devs, right? You just put in a system, and you get like a silver order if you watch for like you can put ridiculous numbers like a silver order every like 20 hours, and like. And people would still watch so much, and it would help the community a lot. It's one of my biggest pet peeves.
Yeah, like honestly, like on Twitch, just having the game as Twitch drops active just pulls in such a wide audience. Like people don't really care about what they get because like, hey, I can get this free skin for this game that I will never play, but I want it.
Yeah, and it's like not that many events happen all the time. And not only that, but it drives so much interaction too. Like there's so much more interaction with like the community in general, right? Like so many, like the last Twitch drop thing, I had so many people that came back from like April of last year that they were like, oh, like I saw this was like a Twitch drop was going on. Like what's going on with the game? Like
Quadro still get people that come into these. There Twitch drops like,
oh yeah, it's really annoying.
Pretty commonly.
Yeah. And so I really don't see why Twitch drops aren't more common, or at the minimum, like, I mean, more common. I don't see why they're not daily, but like at the minimum, like weekends just do weekends, right? Or like a couple days a week, you do Twitch drops. You know,
like,
it's just every week.
Question is this: I actually don't know this. Do a developer need to pay Twitch to have Twitch drops active?
I don't believe so, but it is
But even so, like I still think it would be worth it. Just for the, like I said, people are gonna come in and check the game out just because, like, oh, Twitch says this game has Twitch drops this weekend.
Yeah, and I don't think they have to pay anything. The thing they do have to do is there is a process to getting it set up through Twitch. But I honestly, I don't know the process, and I realize that there's so much BS that can happen with stuff like that with the integration. But if you already have the base integration set up, I really, really do not see how it could be that much work to get it happening on a weekly basis. I mean, Smite does weekly stuff. Smite does daily stuff. Shit, like, they do daily Twitch drops. So I don't see why Enlisted can't do something similar. And I think that they would gain a lot.
According to the blog Twitch on a blog.twitch.tv, so this is an official blog thing here. It does not cost. This is literally how you can get Twitch drops enabled for if you're a game developer. It does not cost anything.
Yeah.
This article is also from 2019 too, so take that with a grain of salt.
I don't see why. I don't think Twitch would actually make money doing that. That's not really. Twitch makes money off ads.
Yeah, Twitch is just trying to.
So like they just want people on the platform. They don't really. It wouldn't make any sense for them to charge for that. So I think drop shopping, I think doing weird little dumb weapon skins is fantastic. I think dropping orders is fantastic. Like you said, people don't really care what they're getting. They're like, oh, stuff for free.
I mean, like the standard weapon, like your bolt action rifles, like the sniper we got with the cloth wrapped around it, just do a regular non-scope variant, for the standard rifleman, it's going to be, max stars anyway. And like, who cares? Because like, even if you get a cloth covered Mosin in Berlin, it's not like you're gonna go, yay, I'm gonna switch this out from a PPSH.
Yeah, right.
But it's gonna be nice for new players to have, and it's gonna be nice for collectors to collect.
Yep.
I think you get like you've seen where guys would like, I mean, this is very dark, so where dudes would like carve little hashes in the side of their stock for like how many kills they've gotten and shit like that. Like I think that would be kind of
Stat track.
Stat track. AWS.
AWS
1945.
FT42, and like everything is just peeled off.
Yeah, there's no stock. The guy carved it all out with all the kills.
Yeah. I think like something like that. I mean, you don't have to like stat it, but like that just be kind of like a skin for a weapon, right?
Tank crews put rings on their barrels for how many vehicles they killed.
Yeah, shit like that. I think would be kind of cool. Like you kind of. Just kind of fuck with that kind of stuff as far as like customization goes. Like, hey, look, dude, like, you progress to level 10, you have access to purchase this with so much enlisted gold or something like that. This historically looking camo, or you got like a little letter or something like that that's like taped to the side of your, M1 carbine or something like that. Some shit like that, like just weird stuff. I think that would be kind of cool to add.
And people would flip the fuck out for it. Like
I'd love that. Just customization.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Like people have, whenever I've mentioned monetization through customization in the past, like people have been like, oh, like Fortnite, like it's such a bigger player base, that's why they're able to do it. Like I'm like, dude, Fortnite is filled with a bunch of like 8-year-olds who
they don't have money.
They have, exactly. You know what Enlisted's filled with? It's filled with a bunch of 18 to 40-year-olds who have a lot of disposable income and are absolutely obsessed with like World War II history, and they will pay big.
Yeah, people will easily pay $2 for a hat.
I think it was a mistake for them to do the squads they did, the way that they set up like Assaulter 2s in Normandy are the 101st Airborne. I think that was a mistake. I think they should have just made it Assaulter 2, and then you sell as you sell
like
the
a
decals
skin for that squad.
Yeah, skin for the squad, or just sell decals. Like say like, oh, you can attach these patches to your soldiers to make them all part of the 101st Airborne. People would fucking pay like $45 for that shit in a heartbeat. And Lion bought the Tuskegee Airmen for like $1 million, and it's like a worse P-51.
Red tails, baby.
Red tails, baby.
Isn't your pilot actually named Michael Jackson with that
My
squad
pilot's
too?
name is Michael Jackson. Is black as the night, so historically accurate.
Historical accuracy.
Wait, for real? Was that the?
Was he
random name
rolled
you
as
got?
Michael Jackson, or did you?
No, he was literally. I literally bought him,
That's
and it was
amazing.
Michael Jackson. And I asked on Reddit. I said like, "Hey, has anyone else bought this? And like, are they all actually African American?" Like, because I mean, historically they were all African American, right? I was like, I wonder if they like. I wonder if they took the time to be like, these all have to be African American, right?
Yeah, they had to have.
Yeah, I mean, like shit like that.
You can't have black soldiers otherwise.
There's because you would need like an arty unit.
Well, I don't mean I don't mean like you couldn't, but like in game you can't right now. Like assaulters you can't. They're they would have to add another squad. They'd have to add like the 761st or something.
That's good. Yeah, good point. I didn't think of that until just now.
Yeah,
good point. My mind is blown.
That's the only way to get African American soldiers is that squad specifically. Which is also historically accurate. Anyway, Valdez, you seemed like you had a giant revelation there.
Yeah. Female soldiers as Twitch drops for Stalingrad.
Yeah, you could do that.
But yeah, that would be awesome. Because sure as hell there weren't like a lot of them in frontline units and whatnot. But like female snipers is a Twitch drop.
There was the anti-aircraft unit that died outside of Stalingrad, literally holding up an entire panzer division for 3 days. They were all high school girls.
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of females that you could use on the Soviet side. I mean, there was 52 females, I think 52, 53, can't remember off the top of my head, that won the Order of the Soviet Union, which is our equivalent of the Medal of Honor in the United States.
There's no shortage of being able to do that. Like,
fucking do all kinds of crazy shit with that.
I just want Soviet paratroopers that don't have parachutes.
Slide off.
Jump out.
That's
how I used to do paratrooping with the planes.
Would they come with extra ammo though?
Yeah, they come with extra ammo. They drop ammo boxes, but not where they land.
Ammo boxes to parachute.
They drop ammo boxes for the Germans.
Jesus Christ! And there's a circle of hell for us.
Oh, DeWin said that they do actually have like female models too from Cuisine Royale.
Oh, interesting.
So maybe we'll see it. Seems like a no-brainer. Right? Moving on to maybe probably the last thing here. We got 15 minutes or so left. Explosive pack rework. So they've said that they've been working on changing up explosive packs. And then we have the remote explosive C4 brick things that we're getting, whatever those are called, in Stalingrad.
Also known as the Spawn Beacon Killer 2000. It's going to be great fun to spawn in and just see the entire 9-man squad go.
That'll be great. AP mines do that too. That's the really evil way to deal with rally points, is you just put an AP mine on top of the rally point.
Yep.
And it will kill everybody. Anyway, so personally, I hope that what they do is they add these remote explosive things to every campaign. And then they make explosive packs like anti-tank grenades where they'll disable tanks, but they won't blow them up. So then you disable the tank with the explosive pack or the AT grenade, right? You blow up its engine or its tracks or something. And then you have to run in with the guy who has like the satchel charge and puts the satchel charge on the tank. Like, I feel like that's more teamwork. I feel like that's more decisions for like how many you bring in your squads, right? Like, do I bring a bunch of AT grenades and disable tanks? Do I bring these satchel charges to blow up the tanks? You know, it's kind of harder to bring tanks down, which means tanks might not be sitting in the gray zone for the entire game the way that they kind of do now.
Are the remote explosives locked to a certain class, or they're just going to be able to take up a mine slot?
They're mines. They're mines.
Okay.
Oh, wait. I did not know this. So you're going to have a demo and... Oh wow.
Yeah, it's a little.
Doesn't watch my videos.
It's definitely. It's definitely questionable with how many explosives are going to.
That's why I was wondering if it was going to be locked to like bombers or engineers or something like that. Yeah,
I think locking that to bombers or engineers would be okay.
I think that you need to start an entirely different class, like a different squad class called the Sapper.
Sapper, yeah.
And he carries that bad boy, and he can sit there with whatever.
Demolition Man, Gisela Sylvester Stallone
the Demo Man.
But I think you should be able to put like a little 5x5 minefield. Like you should be able to he could build like a little 5x5 minefield, right?
Yeah, single mine on a battlefield is pretty much useless.
Yeah, I think being able to build minefields would be weak.
But a minefield is definitely.
But here's the flip thing. He's also the only dude with a fucking minesweeper, so he can go and beep beep beep, beep and then gets rid of it. Right?
He can also make Japanese soldiers surrender.
I don't know. I think I could just play as my conscript and get rid of the minefields.
Conrad.
I got the 9-man squad for a reason. I'm going to use every man.
There's 9 of us for a reason, comrade. Get over there. I would totally do that. I would be like, there's a minefield here, and I would just be like, all right, AI, I need you to defend the other side of this questionable area here. Go.
Is that why you guys want the improved AI?
Yeah. So I can tell them to run across a minefield. Yeah, so they can say no.
Yeah.
I'm not even thinking of it as in like AP. Like, yeah, you can have him where he do like an AP minefield. That would be cool. But I'm thinking like an AT minefield. Like, hey, look, like you put like 10 of these motherfuckers down, and then like, where it cuts off the whole fucking road, right? So if tank goes over, tank go boom boom and die. I think that you could do some aerial denial now with like tanks, because like now, you either have 2 types of tankers: dude that hides in the gray zone, which is the prominent one, fuck those guys, or B, the dude that just like barrels through like and just like keeps moving, so it's really hard to get him with an explosive pack.
My rhino.
So if you have, yeah, you're right, or you could flank your AT gun can't fucking move. At least you could put a minefield over on your left and right lateral limits, so now you can't get just flanked by the tank. Like I think that would be a cool class to add. And then there's your filler thing that has like usefulness, right? Like it fills into something. I don't give a fuck what weapon they carry, probably some shitty bolt action. Yeah. But now they've got a minesweeper. They carry the little the C4 det pack. And they build a minefield. I don't think everyone should have the det pack. I think that thing, or the C4, I'm just gonna call it C4, the satchel charge. Yeah, I don't think everyone should have that. I think it's terrible that everyone's going to have that.
So we can talk like explosives. We all think explosives are kind of a problem in Enlisted then, especially indirects.
Well, also, speaking of area denial, that weird Russian incendiary glass launcher is also being added into the game. The Ampule or whatever, Ampulov or whatever it's called.
Yeah, a little Molotov launcher.
I foresee it's going to take like a week before some player knows every single like hard spawn area, so not like the forward spawns, and it's going to be in a building somewhere, and you guys got to know exactly where that like the spawn protection ends as they enter the building, and it's just going to continuously fire there. So you're just going to walk out, your entire squad is going to start burning. They're going to stand in the same spot, patting themselves over, and then the next mortar round is going to come in and set everyone on fire again, and then it's just going to continue like that.
Yeah.
Yep. It's gonna be the noob tube of Modern Warfare 2. Like literally just, all right, there's my pre-sight fire. We're good. Yep. There's my pre-sight fire. We're good.
Good luck trying to take this point when 2 dudes are just launching these things on the point over and over again.
Oh, that's another good point. I haven't even thought about objectives.
That's because you're not a scumbag, Valdez.
Ask Quadro about my Molotov squad in custom games.
God.
Inside of the buildings on Moscow.
He's got a squad that has like fucking 18 Molotovs, and he'll just run around and like... He'll like throw mollies on the entire objective and every entrance, and then you'll be like, all right, I gotta wait for this shit, and then it's like you just another 3 hit the same spots, and you're just like, okay, I guess we just great.
Yeah.
Speaking of like the grenade pouch thing, I remember the one game I actually played against one of the enlisted devs. Not calling any names here on stream.
It was KO Fox.
It's the only one that plays. I was in Berlin, and me and my buddy were playing against him, and we just saw the kill feed, just explosive. One bolt action rifle kill that we believe was, an assist, and then just explosive. Yep. So he was just going.
Yeah, if this was a couple weeks ago, he might have been testing it out, because I ran into a couple of those players in Tunisia, and I was like, wait a minute. Because I've had a guy in my Discord that has been singing the praises of the increased grenade throw range triple explosive pack gang for like probably
military history.
Yeah, military history. Like it's gotta at least been like 7-8 months at this point. Like it's been a
long
time.
He started doing that because his computer couldn't really run Enlisted, so he only got like 15 frames.
Yeah, so instead of shooting people, just start throwing explosive packs. Yep. And so, which is fair.
Is lagging, Samuel's gonna not aim anymore.
Adapt.
I swear, that's the legitimate lore behind why he started spamming.
Improvise, adapt, overcome. And so I was like, and I ran to a couple of people that were doing that, and I was like, oh my god, all right. And so I went to Berlin, I think, and I did that. I had every single one of my squads were decked out with 27 fucking explosive packs, and I just ran around and I only used explosive packs, and I straight up got like 180 kills. And I was like, this might be the dumbest thing in Enlisted, because like I can get 180 kills in a game normally, but like not for the absolute lack of skill that I had to do there. Like, I mean, you're just throwing. What do you do when someone throws like 8 explosive packs onto an objective you're standing on? Like, you just die. Like, there's no.
We were unconsciously and also encountering this in the custom games. Like, that's what it degenerated down to.
Yes,
in
all of my
the
custom
games.
Yep. All the customs that I do turn into that, because it just takes one person to start spamming them and really start using them a lot, and then everyone else has to start doing it because it becomes the de facto thing to do.
He cut out again, didn't he?
The really sad thing about this being a very like potent thing as well is that the feedback was there in the alpha test.
Oh yeah,
right.
Because everybody had the 3 grenade slots, and the ammo came from like an ammo perk, so you doubled ammo if you had the perk. And like that was just insane because you just went grenade, and then you just focused on whatever you're doing,
whatever wasn't
and you did
dead.
that with, yeah, exactly. And it was just absolutely mind-blowing how you got, a squad and a half every time you throw your 3 grenades. So like the feedback works there that cannot be a core staple of the gameplay. But if people actually start doing that, like Enlisted is just going to be so frustrating.
With the economy changes, it does kind of curb it a little bit because explosive packs expensive now.
But not if you've been playing the game for
that is true,
a dick year and a half. Yeah. Honestly, it reminds me of like, did you guys ever play like, what was it, like Blood Gulch on Halo where you had unlimited grenades?
Yeah.
You just throw those bitches constantly. Like that's all you do now. And I think it's I think the problem's amplified. Honestly, I fucking hate the radio operator. I'm just gonna say this right now.
Yep.
I fucking hate the radio operator artillery. Hate it. It's the biggest annoyance ever. Like they call it on a point, then the other team calls, and you just constantly have this cycling of artillery. Like it's fucking.
Oh, and I mean, all of us played through the red circle cancer era of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like it's just constant, dude. I think they don't. Yeah, I don't think they need it. I think they need to have that taken away, especially if they're going to add planes. Mortars, I don't really have a problem with, except there is no counter, really.
Well, they fixed mortars somewhat.
I don't know. I think radio operators are a lot better than mortars because at least you have the red circle. That's just kind of like, hey, don't go anywhere near this thing.
But what if you got to cap the point? You got to cap the point.
I think you just make it to where you can't call it on the point itself. Or you fucking add back friendly fire. The fact that they took friendly fire away from it is a problem.
They removed that was
because
big.
Then, like now, I'm losing the objective. Great, I'll just call artillery on it and kill everybody. But like, in what world does that make sense? Like, you're losing an objective, and like, I'm not talking Russian scorched earth tactics here. We're like, hey, we lost it. We're now retreating. Let's burn it to the ground. Like, I'm talking, hey, we are actively fighting for this position. Let's call an artillery barrage on it as we push into it to defend. Like, that doesn't make any goddamn sense, right? Like,
also just the fact that the average player, like I would say, the majority of the player base don't realize that. Like, don't call it on top of the point, call it in on their side of like, so it covers at least like half of it, but not the entire thing.
Yeah, exactly. But now it's just like, attacking it's a really pain in the ass because like if you push them off, like you should always assault through the objective. I've always said assault through the objective and like push them back to have like an outer defense, right? But like if you're assaulting the objective and you have progressively pushed them off the objective, right, they will call that artillery on there for like aerial denial. Like, oh, well, now they can't capture it. So they get like an extra boost on defense. Like it helps the defender. And
yeah,
I think
it makes no sense. Like,
yeah, and it helps. I mean, they're even said, like KO Fox and all of them said, they've been looking into like, why do defenders always win? Well, that's one of the reasons. Like, it's very hard for the attacker to take the damn point.
What? You guys think the defenders always win?
I'd say but not when
I would.
I don't know. I think the team that has the good players that understand the game is the one that wins.
The team that has more players will generally win.
That too.
Yeah.
I don't know. I personally think that if you take, generally speaking, in pub games, if you understand Enlisted, you are going to win more as the attacker. But I think with evenly matched teams, the defenders are going to win.
Yes.
Like in custom games, that's been the case. Defenders tend to have a little bit of an advantage. Because of the things like what Enlightened is saying. And I mean, the defender advantage naturally, right? But no, I get what you're also saying, Valdez. Like, I think attacking typically is easier, and I prefer doing it because...
Same.
Like, in pub games, like...
With a good team, defending is super boring.
It can be really brutal.
Well, yeah, you're just sitting there waiting, and everyone's attacking into the gray zone if the other team's shit. Like, that's really annoying. But I'm saying, like, if you have two evenly matched teams, and I've come up against this too, like where you have like good players on either side, the defender 99.8%, wins the game. I feel like because they can just continuously keep you off of going to the point. It's not as much when like demolition, but like when you're just capturing the point. If you have a good defensive team, even if you push them off the point, they will area deny you from capturing that point. And it's super annoying. And it's like, oh, just use smoke. Like, well, I can't. Smoke doesn't block artillery shells. Smoke doesn't block smoke doesn't block 15 explosive packs that come raining down on all.
I don't know what kind
of
smoke you're using, man.
Yeah, like there's no way for me to like, yeah. It's not like we're
smoke.
Go ahead.
The general explosive spam is just pretty toxic. Like, it's very... I think it's more detrimental to the attackers than it is to the defenders, which is kind of the bottom line there. Like, I think the attackers lose a lot more by just, like, having an explosive pack fly over a wall and blow up your entire squad, because it takes longer for an attacker to get to an objective than it takes for the defender to get there, right? Like, that's how the game works. Yes. And it's also a lot more on the attacker to make that work, and tickets and everything like that. And yeah, I think that plays a big part of it. Like, oh, I cooked an explosive pack until I had 1 second left, and I yeeted it over a fucking wall, and then it just then it just instantly exploded and killed 10 guys that were on the objective. Like, what the fuck are you supposed to do against that? Like, boom, there goes like 30 tickets for your team.
Yeah, like
it's weird.
Yeah,
I mean,
for a game that promotes infantry combat, they sure love shitting on the infantry combat.
Facts, bro. Facts.
Yeah. And every time I mention that I want them to nerf vehicles and have infantry as a more important aspect, then there's always someone that goes like, "Oh, why do you hate vehicles so much?" Ooh.
I don't mind tanks. I think tanks are, other than gray zone shit,
I wish they were more valuable. Like, I wish there was a spawn point cost for the vehicles.
Tanks
like,
are unfortunately zero.
I agree with you there,
well.
100%.
Yeah. So, like, I met a fair bit of enemies recently that actually just cycle spawn tanks. Like, they have multiple tank slots, and they just go through that. I'm like, why are you playing this game if
and not War Thunder?
That's exactly.
At that point, exactly.
Because War Thunder doesn't have infantry for you to shit on. That's the answer.
Yeah. I don't know. I agree with you. I think that doing a spawn system like War Thunder, or doing a spawn system like it would be closer, I think, to like Battlefield or
Battlefront.
The Star Wars
Battlefront. The Star Wars front game.
What is it called? War at Home? Homefront?
Oh, Homefront, Homefront Revolution or some shit. Yeah.
Multiplayer in that game had this really interesting thing that it worked like an economy system, kill streak thing.
Yeah.
Where you started, like everyone started out with as soldiers, and then as you you got cash or whatever it was. This was many years ago I played this.
Yeah.
But then you actually like built up, so you could actually be like, I want to spawn in with, let's say Enlisted here. Like I'm gonna spawn in with a Stuart because that's what I can afford right now. But now if I keep it up, I can get a Sherman, or if I can save it up a little bit, I can get a Jumbo. Fantastic, because then we also have the value of having all these types of vehicles. So because there's no point in grabbing a Stuart when you have a Jumbo unlocked.
That's
absolutely no reason.
That's what World War III does effectively. I mean, World War III does the same concept. I think that they do it worse than that. But yeah, same idea of the kind of progression of saving your points. Do I bring in a light vehicle now, or do I save for a heavy vehicle later? Right? Maybe my light vehicle is able to farm a bunch of points, and then I can turn my light vehicle into a heavy. But then again, maybe I just get bitch slapped and die, and then I wasted my points. It adds more decision making, like you said. It lets you bring more vehicles, which
brings us to the flamethrower tanks.
Oh, it does actually.
Oh
yeah, in Stalingrad.
I forgot about that.
They're gonna be absolutely useless in 6 hours of the service being open.
You really think so? I think they're gonna be super good.
Oh, yes, versus infantry. But what happens if I spawn in insert a tank with that tank gun?
This is
it's just gonna instantly counter you.
I don't know. Does it burns you though? Like it's same thing with if you have to get out to extinguish it. I don't
think it sets fire to tanks. I mean, it might. I guess it might set engines.
A Molotov does,
but even
but
so,
only on the engine.
You're gonna have a lot longer range.
Yeah,
it's 40 It's 40 something meters. That's a long burst for a flamethrower. I don't know. It depends on the levels they're designed to. If it's like Berlin, where it's like a street, then tank hit.
Fair.
If it's Tunisia, I can go all around, and if I'm faster than you, I'm just gonna zip around and shoot infantry, and then zip the fuck away from you.
My opinion.
The Soviet flamethrower tank is based off the T-26, so it's not speedy by any means.
Yeah, and it's open. Is that thing open top? That flamethrower variant turret?
No,
because it looks like so on the photo.
Does it?
The command is just sitting there, haha.
Well, it's got the old school double hatch with the two sides, so that's why it might look open top.
Yeah, it's not open top. It doesn't look like.
Okay.
So I mean, I can see it. I mean, plus two, you got to think this is early war 1942, right? What's your AT options? Panzerfaust doesn't exist.
Panzer, that one thing.
The predecessor to the Panzerfaust existed.
With the GRB?
No. The Faust Patron existed.
Yeah, but okay, then what's the Russians gonna have then? Because they're gonna that's not gonna do shit against that. You're not gonna sit there with a PTRS and try to shoot that thing.
I don't know, Panzer IIs. But I think my thing on flamethrower tanks is they will be very good. And my reasoning is for why I think the T-60 is one of the best tanks in the game. And it's because Enlisted, even as shitty as the infantry can be, it is an infantry game. And so the best tanks are the ones who can kill infantry really fucking well. So I low-key think T-60 is a super good tank in Enlisted.
In theory, the Flamingo might be even more ridiculous than the HT-130, because if the two flamethrowers do separate amounts of damage and what their point of convergence is, you might be doing
just
double the amount of flame damage to somebody. When it all depends on when the two flamethrower turrets converge. If they converge 10 meters out.
It adds some cool team play too, because you can be like, hey man, you get in a T-34, you cover me. And then I'll zoom around in a flamethrower tank, and you kill enemy tanks, and I'll just burn out the infantry.
Depends what the levels are, though. If it's designed like Berlin, I don't think it'll be very good. Because, Berlin, you can avoid tanks in most places before everyone fucking hits their keyboard rapidly. In most places, you can avoid tanks in Berlin.
It also depends on, where the gathering up areas are for the infantry. Because we have these areas where... you have this solid corner with a building that you can't enter, and then all the enemy infantry can have to go around that. You just sit there and just hose them with fire.
Exactly.
The redeeming thing for flamethrower tanks is they can't technically camp the gray zone. They do actually have to drive forward.
That's true.
That is a good point. Good point.
Well done, Darkflow. You solved the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, every campaign is just gonna need flamethrower tanks to fix the gray zone camping.
Oh, damn it!
So, last but not least, balance. What are we thinking for Stalingrad here? Like vehicle wise.
What does balance mean?
It's when two children of equal weight get on a seesaw.
It's when I get mad that the other side has weapons that kill me. And then I
Quadra's ancestors are afraid of armored trains. They were unbalanced.
True.
I mean, you're gonna have the PPD. You're gonna have the PPSH. Those are both iconic. DP-27.
What are the Germans gonna have? Like,
hasn't it been confirmed that they're gonna get captured Soviet weapons as well?
Is that confirmed?
The rumor on the street. Yeah.
There's some kind of wording in it that makes it sound like it.
Yeah, they'll probably get the 9mm PPSH.
Or they
if any captured weapon. Yeah.
I did not see that.
What is it? What's that designation? MP31R? Yes. I think is what its designation is.
I'm pretty sure that's it.
Where'd you guys see that at?
It's hang on, I'll tell you exactly.
It's in one of the dev blogs that just recently came out.
Right, I have no idea where I read that actually. My brain did not want to contain that information.
Yeah, I mean, we'll probably see some casemate or like tank destroyer that's absolutely useless on most of the maps because that seems like to be a dark flow thing.
All right, deadline read about.
We might see KV1.
They could achieve victory from the trophy weapons to much more unusual methods. Any means they could achieve victory from trophy weapons to much more unusual methods.
Which dev blog is that in?
That's the one of Join Stalingrad. It's like it's kind of like way down there.
Huh.
So trophy weapons to me, is what is it?
Capture weapons.
Oh God, no! But with the German word, it's the translation of trophy weapons is something in German.
Wait, where?
Is it Buten?
Yes, Butenwaffen or whatever.
Yeah. This is in the Join the Battle for Stalingrad thing?
Pretty sure. It might have been in the other one. I have to look. I have it written down here. I was looking at my notes.
Okay. I was about to say, because I do not see this in here.
Which is like the direct translations of how the Germans designated captured weapons. So, like, to me, that is like, dog, they've got, like, are we going to have, like, Russian PPSHs for the Germans, which would be dope as shit.
Oh, yeah, it's on the second one. It's on the map dev blog.
I was like, I forget which one it was on, but I wrote it down in my notes. So that literally means, like, captured German weapons or Russian weapons. God, I can talk.
Maybe this is also in a map dev blog, so maybe it's just a throwaway thing. Because they're talking about like the battle itself, and it's like one of the fiercest battles of World War II, and like both sides were fighting, and then this is like psychological warfare, which I don't think I'm gonna be able to like force the enemy AI to like surrender. I teabag an enemy and they like immediately. I teabag an enemy and they're forced to rage quit.
I'm glad me and Valdez thought of the exact same scene.
Yeah,
the German half track.
Like, oh, your comrades do not care about you. Lay down your arms. Join our side.
They will care about you more.
After a squad, and they're part of the enemy squad.
I don't know. I think there's a strong argument for maybe premium squads being, or specifically the paid access players,
the buy-in squads,
being German captured weapons or Russian. God damn it, Russian captured weapons.
I hope not, because I think that blurs the lines between the campaigns a lot, unless they're like actually different, right? Then I think that.
There was
PPSH out of 9mm.
Yeah, the PPSH with the German ammo. Yeah.
If it is a fundamentally different weapon, or at least it feels like a different weapon, then that's okay. Like, I don't like the Polish BAR thing, because I don't think that feels very different from a BAR, and I think that blurs the lines between the factions. and I think that the factions should feel very unique, right?
I can see that. I mean,
we'll see.
you're gonna have a bunch of T-34s. I mean, there was a fucking factory in Stalingrad making T-34s the whole time.
All right, they're gonna add the KV-1, right? I mean, there's no way they don't. Because like now
KV-2 might end up as a premium though.
Yeah, that would
That's
not
gonna
surprise
be super fucking good.
It'd be so funny.
It's gonna take out tanks. It's gonna
whatever the KV-1, whatever can kill a KV-1 can kill a KV-2. No.
Yeah.
And so I mean, Tigers were in Stalingrad, right? Or no, that was Kursk, wasn't it?
They were after the 6th Army was running away from Stalingrad.
Technically,
but the F2 will be in there, right?
Yep.
The long barrel
so will the
Panzer
Panzer IV G as well.
Yeah,
well, hang on. We're missing something. It doesn't matter if they were there at the battle. It's if they were in production when the battle took place, which they would have been. So the Tiger could be in Stalingrad.
Theoretically. I don't know if
that is not even a requirement, because remember, there were no jumbos in Normandy. But,
but they were in production. That's the thing.
Well,
That's
the jumbo I feel like isn't the jumbo's weird, but I don't think it's that weird, because the jumbo was also like the jumbos were just sitting in Britain, or they were crossing the Atlantic. Like it's not like
Britain.
But then I guess that's basically the same as the Tigers just being like
sitting on a rail car. Yeah.
But yeah.
So
maybe
the Tiger could be. It could be a Tiger versus a KV-1. That is possible. If it's not,
I would be surprised. I would be surprised. I mean, the F2 will, right? And an F2 will.
F2.
Like, I mean, it could, but I mean, like, I don't know. That's a tough fight if you're in an F2, I would think.
I mean, they had Panzer III ends with heat shells take out KV-1s and 2s.
Yeah, but is that more based on the incompetency of the crew or the incompetency of the armor? Because you got to think, you can't really like make players stupid like the Soviet tankers.
They already are.
No, I mean that's a fair point, but I mean,
but yeah, you don't rely on that.
Yeah,
I mean, like a T-34 technically is superior than like a Panzer IV in every way, shape, or form, except the Panzer IV kept shitting on T-34s because of incompetence of tankers and Russian tactics.
Well, and they're much better gun,
much better optics,
better. I mean, you got a lot of pros obviously to it too, but as far as like the T-34 is considered one of the best battle tanks in World War II.
Three battles or 300 miles, whichever happens first for a T-34.
Exactly.
Also, 3 million of them.
It is the most massive tank.
Most massive tank. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think we're gonna see the KV-1. They can't they can't have 3 different fucking Russian campaigns and not have a KV-1, right? Like,
but curse, man.
I think Moscow is gonna get either the T-34 or the KV-1 in probably this patch, because they said that every nation will get
the T-34.
Yeah.
I think it'll get a T-34, because the T-34 is not unstoppable in Moscow. Stuff can fight a T-34. Yeah. A KV-1 is unstoppable in Moscow. Like, I don't think you can add anything. Well, I think Stalingrad has options for.
There's one Axis vehicle which could technically stop a KV-1
in Moscow,
which is $50.
I was like, what, a Toad 88?
No, the Panzer IV-E with its heat shell count.
Oh yeah. Okay, good. I got it. They can add the KV-1 then.
Yeah, I think it would be fine. I think the KV-1, the KV-2 is a premium probably, or as that full access thing, make me not have to pay for that. That would be great.
I'd be curious if they do add like the Su-76.
Yeah, I mean, that's like tank destroyers as well, could always exist.
Yeah.
But speaking of the Su-76, the M8 Scott in Normandy is open top. Is it still impossible to kill the crew by shooting down into it?
No, I think you can. The weird thing is that right now it's bugged and the AI will shoot through the armor.
Oh.
Yeah, so like you'll be driving around, because like your commander always gets killed, but like I've literally been in the M8 Scott in my free-to-play game or campaign, and like I'll be driving around, my gunner will just get like headshot. And I'll just be like, How?
Because like
what?
if that the SC-76, like that thing is just gonna get annihilated by everything.
Yeah.
But then
Like
you just...
I'm gonna be firing high explosive rounds behind that thing.
Yeah, really.
Out with the high
Marauders,
explosive rounds
yeah.
and enlisted, bro.
Oh, fair.
I mean, welcome to
Does
SU-76 life, man.
Tanks are gonna die in 10 seconds to the fucking air call in anyhow. Let's be
Yeah,
honest.
true. Speaking of the air call-in, I really look forward to getting absolutely shredded by the AI gunners. It's gonna be great fun.
Oh yeah, the defensive. Fuck.
Yeah, that's gonna be a pain in the
about that.
ass.
I was grinding War Thunder the other day, and it was a formation of IL-2s coming in. I'm like, oh, you know what? I'm just gonna, quickly zoom in, quick turn, shoot them down, and then entire thing, just going, Vlam! And then I was dead.
Yeah,
they
like,
and those are IL-2s. They're not even like actual fucking TAC or strap bombers that are gonna have like 6 guns.
The IL-2 AIs took exception to you trying to fly near them, huh?
Yeah,
Mhm.
fucking, you're gonna have Heinkel's just dropping bombs like it's fucking.
Hopefully, this isn't shades of the Alpha
They're
where
gonna
people
add
were
it.
literally flying inverted for their tail gunner to kill people.
They're gonna add it to Berlin, and I'm gonna fly around in my Yak 9T with a fucking 37mm cannon, and it's gonna like not do anything. Like stupid bombers are just gonna survive.
And remember that I think the Heinkel 111 model that we've seen has a 20mm front gunner. So you're gonna try and intercept them, and you're just gonna be at that 20mm salvo just meeting you.
Jousting's gonna be really mean against those things.
What's the blind spot on them, Valdez?
None that I think of. They have both belly, top, and front gunners.
You can't come in from like 60 degrees
Like
low.
you can come up like straight below because like the below and front area is blind, but like from the rear it's pretty well covered.
Any
I just see
reasonable
myself
attack angle.
Also, above front it should be fairly weak because the 20mm front gunner I believe was used to strafe ground targets.
Can't come up. Yeah, you're not going to go underneath it because if it's like enlisted, the bomb.
I mean, like enlisted is wonky enough to fly in, so like any of these like super fancy War Thunder moves, they don't really work.
Yeah,
and also because of the damage model in the game, it's like, oh yeah, you took 2 machine gun hits to the engine, you can't fly anymore.
So then, would you say, like in your personal opinion, coming from War Thunder and stuff? So I've advocated the adding of SPAs. I've found like self-propelled anti-air is like a solid bet to add. It'll shred infantry though. I don't know how you're going to counter that.
But that is the issue. I don't think adding any SPA, even if we go something as quote unquote weak as like an M16, 450 cal and half track, that thing is gonna absolutely murder infantry. To like a verbal win, that thing is gonna murder infantry.
That thing will murder tanks. Like
yeah. It can even kill the early Shermans from the front. So it's like
so SPA is, in your opinion, just completely bad idea to add.
Oh yeah. I even want them to like my solution for the ground AA counter is to take the flag positions that we have now, or like whatever the other nations get when it's more faction independent, but add a row of sandbags around them so they can't angle the guns downwards to be used against the infantry, and then just massively boost the turret swing, give them a shit ton of ammo. That way they can actually be used against all the planes, but not just slaughter all the enemies. But as for SPAA, I think that would be the end of regular tanks, because why would you bother?
Yeah, good point. I know we've talked about this Quadro too. Like, how would you all feel about, how like in airfield they have the secondary objective, right? Like shoot the damn balloons, and that really breaks the game, but whatever. How would you all feel if there was like somewhere on the maps at any point you could go, and if you captured it, like it turned on like 88 millimeters or whatever, 88 gun flat guns that just fired up into the air. Like they can't go anywhere. They shoot the air, and it gives you air cover, air supremacy.
I have been a huge proponent of secondary objectives.
That's
a cool one.
I agree. I also thought something like actual forward bases for the aircrafts to take out to reduce the chance that your main squads that you actually play, the frustrating stuff where you're spawning and get bombed immediately. So reduce that by having off main battlefield areas for the stuff like radio stations. So you bomb the radio station, the radio operator takes a longer time to get a longer cooldown, and then the artillery emplacements and all of that stuff. So you bomb the artillery stuff, and the artillery gets taken out for XYZ amount of time. You bomb a reinforcement convoy, and the spawn time for the soldiers become 5 seconds longer.
Yeah, it's almost like old school Battlefield 2 when you could go and blow up all the commanders.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Yeah, no,
that's sick.
That would be really cool. We've been talking about having secondary objectives because I think Airfield got a lot of shit because its secondary objective sucks, but its secondary objective sucks because it's not a good objective, not because the idea of secondary objectives is bad, right? Like having that stuff, and the plane stuff that you mentioned is really cool because I've always wanted better plane stuff because I think planes are really lame right now, and kind of have been. They're basically just like fly and drop bombs, fly back.
They're suicide drones right now.
Yeah, more or less. So yeah, I think having like secondary objectives, because we have those like explosive charges now, the satchel charges. Imagine like an area that's like, or a map where you're playing the Soviets and it's like, okay, you can't spawn in any planes because the Germans have an 88 flak set up. So like it's a side objective and you can run over and you have to throw like a satchel charge on it and blow it up. And then once you blow it up, then you get to spawn in planes. That would be cool, right? Or like, like minor little secondary objectives that can help you out. Or like I've mentioned in like Berlin, like the Reich Chancellor or the Reichstag objective. Like imagine if there's just like a King Tiger that was there. Like a broken down King Tiger with like a little bit of ammo, and you can run over to it and you can just like get in it and you can use the gun, and it's like a little bunker, and it's like, oh, well, you can go blow it up, but that's going to be a pain in the ass, right? So it's this like mini objective that you're kind of fighting over because it's a big King Tiger and it's scary, but it can't really move and it's easy to blow up. So you kind of got to defend it. You're fighting over it. I think that would be a really cool thing to do. It's also historically accurate, right? Like,
yeah. I would also like to add more destructible environments in the same way that we have the Atlantic Wall being able to be destroyed on Normandy. So like I would hate to see fully destructible buildings because you see Battlefield, like all the buildings get leveled in 15 minutes. But I would really like, specialize, like, hey, you can actually use these demo charges now to like, put them on the wall and then blast that wall open.
Asshole your way into a building.
Yeah.
That's a great point. Yeah, 100%.
Yep. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of little things. I wonder how big the dev team is because a lot of this stuff is not particularly difficult to implement. I mean, I'm not going to say it's easy, but like, with a dedicated amount of time, I think they are focusing a lot on finishing the campaigns, and maybe stuff like this will come later, but kind of prefer it just come now.
Yeah.
I mean, if BattleBit Theater can do shit like that, like, and they have a dev team of like, what, 3 people or some shit? Like, and with that game having all of that stuff, you'd think Enlisted would be able to do something. BattleBit's a different game, but still.
No. Well, I mean, I said it too, like, right? Like, I was completely against the campaign coming until they had fixed some of this stuff.
I think that's cool too,
I see why
Sheriff.
They wanted to do it.
Well, anybody have anything else they want to discuss, talk about? Any major things? I can't think of anything else.
There will be another episode of Meme Listed eventually.
Sure, you did make
meme listed.
Meme Enlisted. Yeah, Jason's been making meme videos of all the content creators.
It's fucking phenomenal.
He did some Berlin video.
I must have missed that. I'm all over that. I'm gonna check it out after this.
Yeah, it was like
it's the downfall, Hitler flipping out part.
Yeah, but it's like me and Enlightened are like the fucking
Steiner will arrive with his demo charges
and it was like Steiner's attack or some shit.
He built a rally point in an attic.
Yeah, Steiner built his rally point in an attic. It's like
where are our reinforcements? They are stuck in the attic.
The best part is when like the girl's like crying and like the other girl's like, let's go, like let's leave, and she like, takes him away. Is like he put subtitles that was like Come on, let's go play Allies Tunisia.
Yeah. Shit on people.
That was the
Good
best.
God.
That was the best. I remember seeing that and just dying about it. So good.
Gotta love it, man.
Yeah, there's a lot of great videos people make out there about the enlisted community and stuff.
Yeah.
All right.
Facts.
Well, that's it. That's the end of the podcast. We're coming up here about 2 hours, but I guess we started a little bit late. So,
we also had a special guest today. So
yeah, I was gonna say, thanks Valdez for coming on here. Everybody follow twitch.tv/Validuzz and then find his YouTube and sub to that, so he'll make YouTube videos for you guys as well.
Exactly.
there is one more announcement before we
what's
end
up?
too. The multiplayer Hoi 4 game.
Oh yeah, we're doing a multiplayer Horde 4 game. If anybody wants to join that, the link for that is in my Discord right now or in Lighten's Discord. So everybody's got their socials and their Twitch and everything.
When about and like what's the skill cap? Because I suck.
There is no skill cap.
We all suck. It's an RP game, so it's also just kind of like do whatever the fuck you want kind of thing.
I know what country I'm gonna play. I'm gonna say.
By the way, Line, I think I put USA down for that. I think I might change my answer to France.
What was your secondary?
I think I was USA and then Soviets because I didn't know. I think I might want to change to France and do some real dumb shit with France.
There you go.
Well,
the entire Baguette division.
Yes. But yeah, we'll do. So yeah, the Hoi 4 game, that's on March 26th. Anybody's welcome to sign up. We'll take as many people that want to play because you could just play random shit. And yeah, the skills is not even an issue because last game, I don't think France even fell. Or no, France fell after like a year of fighting in France.
Oh, is that when the riots happened in Germany?
Yeah, because Dosser fucking didn't declare war on Japan. So then, or he didn't declare war on China, and China war was delayed by a year. So then Germany's war support tanked because world tension was really low. So then, Joey, instead of just like lowering his war economy, his fucking like he just took the strikes, which then just like mega fucked his economy, and so he had nothing for actually invading France.
Oh god, that was glorious. Hey man, I invaded the Soviet Union with nothing and succeeded. All right, I'm saying that was a failure.
That was our first game where I encircled like 8 Italian tanks that were actually German tank divisions. I like encircled them instantly in Italy or in Africa, and it like in line afterward was like, "Where are the tanks at?" And he was like, "What do you mean, what tanks?" And he's like, "I gave you like 4,000 tanks."
We have nothing for Barbarossa.
It was terrible. They're like all those, and like in the game where Germany had strikes, like I was Italy, and it was like I had like Supermarine divisions, like
Fortress Italy.
Yeah, like Fortress Italy, and like no one could get into Italy because my infantry were so good. It was great.
Like 1.5 million casualties just taken Sicily.
Yeah, he was
alone.
UK. Yeah, like the Italian Navy got sunk immediately, and like he kept trying to land shit, and they were getting pushed back by the legendary spaghetti divisions. The sign up is in the sign up is in Discord. Let me post a link, or DeWins is gonna post a link for Discord.
When is it?
March 26th.
Thank you.
At 10 Eastern Daylight Time.
Yeah, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
That'll be rough for you, Val. Val's gonna be a quick burn on that one. He's gonna go full fascist and then just start invading shit and explode because he's gonna be like, I gotta go to bed. It's like 4 a.m. y'all.
Time to go.
We'll see if I join for that one though.
All right.
Yeah, you're more than welcome. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
All right. So that's all the announcements. Follow Valdez on Twitch. Follow Enlightened on Twitch. Follow me on Twitch. Follow Jason on Twitch. He's got another, I think, year and a half before he can stream, but
I might actually have to break that rule for a reason, though. I discovered something.
All right. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks for tuning in, guys, and we will see you guys on the next podcast. Peace out.
Yeah. Have a good one.